Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone. Kia ora koutou. Yes, my name's Mark Curr. I'm delighted to be here. I think there's a few sports stereotypes in the room, isn't there? High five to my sports colleagues. Otherwise, I was saying before, it's so cool to be here. It's so cool to meet lots of new people and spread the gospel around this very important work that I'm going to share with you. I don't just represent myself. I work at Hutt City Council where I'm the Sport and Recreation Manager. We are involved in a project on play with our excellent colleagues from Healthy Families Lower Hutt and Sport New Zealand. That is a tripartite partnership called Play in the Hutt. The work that we're doing is the focus of today's content. As you all know, Lower Hutt is the city that Wellington could have been. In working on play, is this a cool photo? This is one of my favourite photos. First hot tip of the day. If you put a water slide in a park on a hot day, it's a magnet for kids like this. The little ones will go down tentatively, the big ones will try and go down as quickly as you can. For bonus points, buy good quality washing up liquid so no one gets a rash. That would be a hot tip. This here is from one of many events that I'm going to tell you about that we've delivered over the last few years, and we've really been on the ground. We've been having conversations with as many people as we can about this work. Today could be subtitled Things That We've Seen, Conversations That We've Had. This is all just our lived experience. Can anyone see what that is?
Hopscotch.
Put your hand up if you think you know what's depicted there. Oh, she's got it. So, at the very start of this journey, this is one of the times that we knew that this work was important. We went to Mayo Grove in Nainai and we had a street party. We were walking to the street party and we went to Rata Street School and we said, "Hey boys, come over. We're going to have a little do round the corner." And one of them said, "Will there be salad?" We're like, "Oh, yep, come on over." We asked them to draw on the ground a depiction of what they do when they play. So this kid drew himself on YouTube, and he was watching the movie It. These conversations we see every day that reinforce the importance of this work. I'm going to take it for a walk. Are you ready?
Oh, you kind of push the bottom of it. Or is it on? It might be on.
Test.
No.
Test.
Push the red button on the bottom of it. For ages.
Test.
Okay, keep pushing and something will come up on the screen.
There we go.
Cool.
Test. Okay, test. Okay, test.
Keep pushing.
I'm not walking. So, Randwick School. We work across the road from Randwick School. Randwick School is a true Decile 1 school. It's a great place full of very committed educators. A couple of years ago, there was 121 kids at this school. One of them was engaged in a community sports club. One kid out of 121. I'm going to come back to that point. Cost is a barrier to our young people being active. We started talking to the educators at places like Randwick School, and we had a conversation about play one day, and this is verbatim quotes, 3 quotes from a couple of teachers that we sat down one day. "All of the language, creativity, and invention that comes to school with our young people is from the screen time world that they spend most of their time in. We are having to manufacture play experiences for our 10-year-olds that they should have had as 5-year-olds. And I've been an educator for 30 years and I haven't seen it this bad."
Wow.
This work is vitally important. Moving on. Success today. Success today is that I'm going to tell some stories. The narrative of this work is important to build the case. we literally don't have enough hours to tell these stories. I've just met my new friend from Healthy Families. There's that group that work on it. There's probably 8 people at council working on play. We can't have enough conversations. We're saying to each other, are you friends with that guy from Roding yet? We need to keep telling these valuable local stories. Point 2, the other way that today will be successful is that we will create play champions. Everybody in this room is a champion for play. Everybody in this room, as we've heard, was a child once, and many of you have children or nieces or somebody that you can create new play opportunities for. There's a thing called Baader-Meinhof syndrome. If you buy a white Toyota Corolla, you'll notice all the other white Toyota Corollas on the road instantly. That's what you do for play now. You look around your world and you say, my kid could climb that tree, so you put a sign on the tree that says, climb this tree. Let's look at the world through kids' eyes. We believe this is a movement and we need help to keep the movement moving. The last thing that success looks like today is we have heaps of information and we want to share all of that. Maybe by giving you our survey template, our data set, our session plan for developing shared tikanga and kaupapa around space activation, anything that we've produced that's of value, we want to give it away because we think that we can bump you off any shelf that you're on and we can move forward together. So that's another reason that we're here. And also we love an audience, right? So, yeah. So, we've been really careful to curate information. What you see here is a snapshot of the data that we've caught over the last few years. We've written a book, no big deal, don't want to talk about it. There's a few things in here that are really stunning, really alarming. But we're focused on the positive stuff, we're focused on our strengths. We asked 338 kids in our city and their whānau what play sufficiency looks like for them. And the data says that 1, parents and whānau understand that play is important. And they understand why play is good for our development. 2, parents want their kids to play more. Overwhelmingly, in our city, our kids aren't playing every day. That is the headline. That's a jarring number. And whenever we show that number, people say, how have you defined that? So let's have that talk afterwards. But then there's this bit. Parents want help. That 40% at the bottom, that's the opportunity. Help me to do more. And so that's where we've chimed in. We think we can help. So today, we've clung to that and we're running with it. And this presentation today is all of the ways that we're running with it. I counted them up. We've got 19 little projects around play in our city. And today I'm going to talk to you about 5 of them.
Let me see if I can get that going.
Thank you, Mary.
That's all right.
You're promoted.
Okay.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about 5 of them. I was going to roam around. Are you ready? Number 1. Who's had an average year? Hands up. Or who's had a few ups and downs? It's been a bit patchy. Anyone? There's one. Be brave. Come on, tell me. There's 3. Here's your solve all cure. Here's your massive shot of dopamine, serotonin. Go home. Get out of the house, knock on 30 of your neighbours' doors, invite them to a street party, tell them to bring their kids, break bread, cook them a sausage. Real simple. We've done variations on this about 30 times. It's the best thing I do in my job. You would not believe the amount of free food I've had. See there, that handsome man cooking sausages. Look at the quality of those kebabs. People respond to other people. The reason that we're doing this is to normalise our public spaces as a place where our kids can play. But the spin-off for social capital is something that we haven't even started to capture. We can see the Facebook groups starting. We can drive past and see the trapeze that we left in that street get used every day. We can see the change in that community through, that borrow a cup of sugar stuff. But we're not close to being able to capture all the value of that stuff. We see it and we know that it's there, and that's got to be enough in the role that we play in our city.
Trying to do this
The format is the same each time. Have you done it?
Oh, sorry.
Good, Mary. Okay, you're gonna see my handsome shape now. So, this is actually my little boy. He's got to fix up his action, doesn't he? He's not going to make the black caps like that. If you go into the streets and you put a play event in a community, the steps are simple. Find a local host or play champion. This is their street. They know their patch best. It might be you. If everyone in this room goes away and hosts a street play party, that's a massive impact on social capital in this country. Knowing your neighbour is a key way that we measure social capital when earthquakes happen and things like that. So if we can make that happen as a result of today, how cool is that? Put up a few cones and then break bread together and watch kids play in the street. Who's terrified about cars? A few of us are. So much of what I'm going to talk to you about is proof of concept. 107 people came to this street party. There was no traffic management plan. The traffic management plan was 4 cones. Cars would come around the street and they would look at this thing and say, "This is a new thing, what should I do?" And then they would pull over and walk over. Or they would drive round. Either option is a good option. The second in charge of roading, who I'm going to mention again in a moment, I said to him, I explained that this was going to happen, and he said, "I'll visit you in hospital." Sorry, "I'll visit you in jail when it goes wrong." So we're not all on the same page yet. Is anyone here from transport? Okay, whoa, I got away with that. On to the next one. Okay, I love this photo. This is 6 girls from age 2 to 10 up a tree. When was the last time you saw that, other than in your own memory? Here's my lived experience. If your child walks past a tree that's a cool climbing tree, they might go, "That's a cool climbing tree." They might climb the tree. If there's a sign that says, "Please climb this tree," they're more likely to climb the tree. If there's already a kid up there, they're absolutely going to climb it. This is called a play nudge, and we're going to come back to that in a moment. The purpose of those street parties is about trust-building transactions. Our kids are the oil that makes community work. Let's put our kids together in the street, and then mum and dad will talk and everything gets fixed. This is so cool. My colleague Sam Dickey is a total legend. She's American. She's from the summer camp system. She's very crafty, and so she's developed this model here. It's called the Build and Play Trailer. 150 of our kids will use this today. This has had 20,000 uses. It's a numbers and testimony machine. This is not in the wheelhouse of a sport and rec team, but who cares? It ties into the physical literacy. They're negotiating, they're meeting educational outcomes. Our educators are saying this is meaningful learning for them. They're talking to each other, they're collaborating, they're cooperating, they're being creative. And here's the cool bit. That's a hammer and that's a saw in the hand of an 8-year-old who's scared by that. This happens at kindy. And it's okay. But then for some reason we get scared about it again and it gets pushed to the margins. We can do this. This is booked out for the next 1.5 years because our educators love it. It costs $0. Who lives in Wellington? Buy and sell your house with Cummings and Kilgariff. They pay for all of this. This has 0 cost. That they fully sponsor this. We love those guys. They just, wow. Amazing project, and it keeps going. It's got legs. We're teaching our kids to embrace risk. I want to send you the hurdles that we went through. I found out through this process that if something goes wrong, the person that gets it in the neck is our CEO. So he wanted to be sure that this was all watertight. Principals aren't happy either. We've developed a process. It took a while to make sure that everyone's happy. 20,000 uses, couple of black thumbs, 7 or 8 band-aids. Let's move on. This is the cousin of Build and Play. It used to be called a push play trailer. Thanks, Wellington City Council. Same stuff. We've given one to Pacifica Health Service, so that then this is high-end sports goods. It removes cost as a barrier to our young people being active. We have another project called Action Replay, which gives essentially free sports gear to communities where, again, cost is a barrier to being active. Right, so play nudges. I live in Lower Hutt, and there's a whacking great mall in Lower Hutt, and I've got an opinionated little girl who's 2 in August, and I'm being filmed, but I'm going to say it. She takes after her mother. She knows what she wants. My little girl knows what she wants. I will take her to the mall to buy a box of matches and some sour cream, because you can't have nachos without sour cream. And it takes me an hour, because there are 5 things that she wants to play with within about 20 metres. This is some little horse things she likes to climb on. This is really cool. It's a little play shop set. It takes us ages to get through the mall. Why? Why is that in the interest of the mall? So we stay longer, so we spend more money. If you hang a swing in a tree, kids will play on it. We believe that. There's an amazing document that we love. It's about the behavioural economics of play. It says 3 things. Play needs to be local, close to where you live. We need to factor play into everyday objects. So yes, let's put rock climbing holds on the bus station or the substation. Let's paint the world's biggest hopscotch on that long, boring footpath that you have to walk down every day. And the other one is it has to be multi-generational. So we're on this road of working out how we can have networks of playable things for our kids. Where I'm lucky enough to live, community have taken the lead, and they've put swings all down the river where I live. So on a Sunday, me and my little boy will ride our bike down the river, and he'll go on every swing, and he'll climb on every tree, and he'll do all this cool stuff. How much has that cost me? How much has that cost these guys? Big fat duck egg. We're thinking differently about play so that everyone can do it. Should I tell this story? It's being filmed. What do you think?
Yeah.
My mate, who's the 2IC of roading, he's recently left, so there's a bit less risk to this story. I said to him, mate, we want to put a whole lot of nudges for play in our streets. We want to put a rope ladder and here and this there, and we need 400 litres of paint, and we want to build all these things and talk to community about what's best for them, and on and on and on and on. Can I have some money? Because it's going to be on your footpath, it's going to be in your areas. And he said, how much do you need? And I said, well, 20k? Is 20k a number? And he said, we spend $2 million a year on light bulbs. So yes, I'll just find it somewhere. And I'll tell you why he did that in a moment. Over the next few weeks, we're going to litter our city with little play nudges. Okay, this is one of our favourite photos as well. This summer, we had a whole lot of events called Play Days, which we bill as stuff in a place. We rock up at the start of the day in a van, and we tip out bubbles and paint and art and sport and junk and whatever we can hustle from the industrial estates that week, and we dump it, and we put out a water slide. About 5,000 people came through these events last year. This amazing lady is the only one that went down the water slide in her togs. It was 30 degrees every day. How cool's that? What a legend. This woman is our legend. She is a play champion. How cool a life is that kid going to have? Let's talk about role modelling. As I've said, everybody in this room is a play champion. We can all do this when we step through the fear. Whoa, I'm running way over time. Are you going to forgive me? Should I just keep hustling? Hustle, hustle.
Hustle.
Okay, so things we say now. My mate Scott at Sport New Zealand is the past master of this stuff. These are a mixture of things that he says. If you get a moment, have a look at the Sport New Zealand principles of play. They are tied in closely to our conversation. Let's play every day. Our data says that our kids don't. I have direct impact to 2 young humans to help them to play. Play is defined as unstructured, for no reason, and self-directed. I can help my little guy to pick up a thing and pretend it's a sword. All day I can do that, and we need to believe and understand the developmental benefits of doing so. Every space is a play space. Have we got any planners in the room, like parks planners? Oh, it's a safe space. Our Parks and Gardens people are excellent. They are so good, and the conversation is underway to look at the world differently. I've told you about play nudges. If I put a thing in every street in Lower Hutt, every single street, the end game is every child can walk to their mailbox, see something cool to play with, and they're on their bike, so they're going to the next thing, and on and on and on and on. That will cost 60 grand. Every street, 60 grand. How much does a destination playground cost? Millions. Ours costs, I think, 3.2. How often do you go there? Once a... Yep, I know. Every space is a play space. Space, time, permission. We're Hutt City Council. There's 550 people work for us. We're divided down into different teams. We need to play nicely together. Space, time, permission. We own so much land, we can give people the permission to play on our land. We can put play closer to them because they've got 2 jobs, they've got to commute, so we can help them to do it, and we own the space. We have a massive role to play in place efficiency. Play is priceless. I've talked about that. It needn't be expensive. There's so much cool stuff out there that we can prompt play with. We need to know that our kids want it, which is about that co-design conversation. And it's everyone's role to lead on play. I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids. I want them to grow up in a city that works. Real simple. Haley and Healthy Families and Scott, we all get this. We've dragged others in. We get far by sitting down, taking the time to understand the story of my mate in Roding, telling me about when he was a 10-year-old in Blenheim, playing cricket in the street, and then the car would come, so he'd take the stumps off to the side. Once we understand where people are from, we know we can take them on the journey with us, and I'm delighted to have had the chance to talk about this with you guys today. We win or we do the people bit first. That's the point there. We win or we learn. My boss is amazing, and he says, yep, try it, it's cheap. His boss is amazing. He says mahi atu, which means go and do it. It means try and fail. This is how we get away with this approach. And which brings us neatly back to the start. When this work began, we had that street party in Mayo Grove in Nainai, and we went to number 9, Patricia, and we said to Patricia, we've just opened a $3 million destination playground about 400 metres away from here. How many times have you been there? You've got a 9-year-old, you're there every day, right? She said, I've never been there. And we said, we couldn't believe it, we're incredulous. She said, I'm on kidney dialysis, I can't leave my house, pretty much. And we said, so how does your 9-year-old play? How can we support you so that your 9-year-old can play? And she said, I just need 2 road cones for when the car screams around the corner to go to the tinny house. This work's important. We can support the play and our place efficiency in our communities, and we don't need to do it through playgrounds.
Awesome. Wow.